So we've talked about how to find the particles in atoms. Now we need to figure out how we can figure more stuff out about it and write about them a bit.
Okay, so if we're going to be writing about it, we need to do what we call notation. The notation of different atoms is going to tell us how many neutrons, how many protons, how many electrons are in the atom, in a neutral atom. So can you give me an example of one of those?
So one way we could see this is we know if we look at the periodic table, we have all these element symbols. So there are these letters that may or may not make sense with what we're looking at.
Okay.
So if we've got an element, so pick an element.
We'll say nitrogen.
Nitrogen. So what's the symbol according to the periodic table for nitrogen?
It's N.
So we start off with the letter N because that's its symbol according to the periodic table.
Okay.
And then we can actually tell a couple other things about that. We can give the atomic number for nitrogen, and what did we say that was?
That's going to be 7.
That's going to be 7. We put our atomic number down on the bottom. So this is our atomic number. That's also known as Z.
Okay, so just to show you real quick where we got that from, if you see N there, it's got a 7 on top of it right there.
Right there.
All right.
So then the other number we can give is our mass number. And so we'll talk a lot more about this later, but our masses can actually vary a little bit depending on our element. So each atoms of the same element can have slightly different masses. Our normal one for nitrogen is going to be 14. This will always be a whole number, even though the periodic table isn't a whole number.
Right, because it says 14.007, so that means somewhere there's some nitrogens that have a mass of 15.
But this is going to be, whenever we're giving this notation, this will be of the specific isotope.
Right.
That's an atom with a particular mass that we're looking at, not the average of all of them.
Right.
So this is our mass number, and that will also be known as A. So you'll remember this because A goes on top of Z.
Okay.
And this is called our nuclear notation.
Because those are the things that are in the neutron, or nucleus.
In the nucleus, yeah. We have to deal with our mass, and we deal with our atomic number, which also told us our what?
Protons.
Protons.
Okay.
Something else we can write that actually gives us a little bit less information, but still helpful information, is what's called hyphen notation. If I can spell the word hyphen. Hyphen notation is just going to give us what element we're looking at and its mass. Because how can we find our atomic number if we don't have it?
I don't know. How do we find that?
Well, how do we find it for nitrogen?
Well, we looked on the periodic table.
We looked on the periodic table. So if we know what element we're looking at, we can find our number, we can find our atomic number, we can find our protons. So what we really need to know is what our mass is going to be.
That particular isotope.
And so if we were going to write our hyphen notation, we would start with the name of our element. The name of our element was what?
Oh, nitrogen.
Nitrogen. So we just write out nitrogen, hyphen, so it's going to be a dash, the mass. And so what was our mass?
14.
14. So N with a 14 and a 7, that was nitrogen with a mass of 14, atomic number 7. We can also write it just with our mass in hyphen notation. Occasionally you will also see this where we just use the symbol and the mass. But if you ever got the element name or the element symbol with a hyphen and a number, this number will always, always be your mass.
Right, because I can always look up at the periodic table to find out what the atomic number is.
Right, so we don't need to give you that.